Today, I am going to be doing a review on set number 75017, aka the Duel on Geonosis. This set released in 2013 for a retail price of $40, but if you want one new, sealed in the box today, it's going to cost upwards of $200. And this set has 4 minifigures, 391 parts, and an age range from 8 to 14 years. So, the first figure, and definitely the least exciting, is the A4 pilot droid. The entire bottom half of his body is brick built, which is cool, but he does use those cheese slopes, which can crack very easily. So that's pretty annoying. But his entire upper half of his body is the regular battle droid parts, just recolored, which is fine. But something cool is that his entire head is actually the same mold as the commando droid, which I think is actually pretty cool. And if you're curious, this figure is not exclusive. He did appear in the advent calendar that came out in the same year. We also get this relatively basic Yoda. He's also not exclusive. He also appeared in multiple other sets, but I mean, it is a decent figure. He does have a pretty good print on his torso, but it's nothing special. And he also has a decent back print, even with the hood. And he, of course, uses the basic head mold for Yoda, which is actually made of a more rubbery material, so that his ears don't snap off. And he, of course, uses the short minifigure legs, and he includes a green lightsaber. Definitely one of the highlights of this set, the Pogo the Lesser. I really like this figure. He has extremely detailed printing on his torso and legs, which look great, and he even has very nice olive green hands. He also includes this very nice Death Star plans accessory, but it is pretty cool. But with this figure, I have 2 major complaints about him. First off, while his wings do look good, they don't really fold down very well. And my other real complaint is the fact that his headpiece is also made of the more rubbery material, like Yoda, which is fine, but for some reason, with the head, it has like 0 clutch power to the actual torso. It's kind of stupid how easily it just pops off. And other people have had this exact same problem, so that is really annoying. But I do really like his headpiece. I think that it has great printing on it, and it does look good. And I feel like if LEGO made this figure now, he probably would have included the mid-sized legs. Definitely the best figure in the set, and the reason it is so expensive, the Count Dooku. And to be fair, it is a great figure. And it is really nice. He does have a relatively simplistic print on his torso, but sadly, he doesn't have any leg printing, which I do wish was included. And he, of course, has this great face print, which I think looks really nice. And he also has the slick back hairpiece in white. And he also has this very nice cape. But the character does not have a back print. And he also has this very nice second face. And he, of course, includes his amazing curved lightsaber hilt, which is actually done in chrome, which is very cool. It's just the issue with these chrome things is that the chrome paint chips off stupidly easily, and underneath you can see that it is like this ugly greenish tan color, which is really annoying, so it is kind of difficult to find one of these in good condition. And honestly, I wouldn't be too surprised if LEGO remade this figure in 2025, considering that is going to be the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. And plus, a new Count Dooku is long overdue, considering this figure is pretty valuable. He's going for upwards of $70. Overall, this is a pretty good minifigure selection. I do like most of the figures, but the A4 pilot droid isn't really that exciting. But there are 2 figures that LEGO totally should have included. And that should have just been an Episode 2 Obi-Wan and Episode 2 Anakin. I feel like that would have made the set a lot better, and then they could just remove this pilot droid. Because that would have definitely made the set a lot more interesting and more fun for kids to play with, I imagine. But now, for the actual builds. Now, before I talk about the main build, in the set, we do get Count Dooku's speeder, which I think does look pretty good. It is definitely an upgrade from the last Count Dooku speeder, but I think it does look good. It does use a lot of brown parts, which a major issue with that is that a lot of them can be very brittle. For example, right before recording this video, I accidentally dropped this, and as you can see, a piece chipped off right there at the back. So that is pretty annoying. And there is a little clear brick at the bottom, which I think is actually pretty cool. And it is surprisingly balanced, so that's nice. And at the back, there are these little fins, some detailing on the sides, and these things, I'm not sure if they're supposed to be like pedals or something, but there's a little red light at the front and a little handlebar. And of course, you're meant to put Count Dooku on here, but I'm not going to do that because he's pretty expensive. But I do really like this. So the main build is not going to be the best set on your shelf. And that's just because generally with LEGO builds that aren't ships or buildings, they don't look particularly the best. Just because most of the sets that are based off of actual scenes are play sets. But if you want a good set for your display, then that's what the diorama is for. But this one isn't bad. It's definitely meant to be more of a playset, and that's fine. It does have a lot of play features. First up, right here on this little rock piece, they do use like 4 of them, which is fine. But there's actually a little hinge because you can open it up, and there's a little crate inside. And you're meant to actually store Count Dooku's lightning in there. But I cannot find my piece anywhere. But I think that is pretty cool. One thing that you could probably do is take out the crate because it is actually, sorry, it's meant to disconnect like this. But if you want, you could probably put a figure in there and make them hide in the rock, kind of like take the Rancor bit. And over here, we got this whole thing, which is meant to be the little pillar that Count Dooku drops onto either Obi-Wan or Anakin. Because you can also, right there on this lever, you can pull it and it can fall down. Which, this is another reason why Obi-Wan and Anakin totally should have been included. But this whole thing doesn't look too bad, actually. But I'm not a huge fan of those random gaps in between. I just don't think those look particularly good. And over here at the base, there is this little hose piece, which doesn't look too bad. There's a bit of gold elements. And another major play feature with this set is this thing. What you're meant to do is attach Yoda to it just like this. Because at the back, there is this whole little knob so that you can have Yoda jump around and fight Dooku. But actually controlling it is a bit difficult because right there at the little base, you can obviously spin it around. But the main thing is that the type of Technic pin that is on that little bracket piece is the much looser, free-flowing one, which means that he'll just kind of like spin over when you don't want him to, which is really annoying because if you're actually trying to use this feature, having him just constantly flip over when you're not trying to is pretty annoying. So I feel like LEGO definitely should have made that piece the more strong Technic pin. And right here, there are some hinge pieces so that if you want, you can fold it like this, and you can have a lot more open area. But I prefer to display it like this. And on the back of it, there isn't much. But there is that little Technic pin, because you are meant to be able to just push it out, and then a little rock goes flying out. Also on the top, there is some of these little curved detailing, which doesn't look too bad. And there is this whole little lamp fixture, which I think is actually pretty cool. Do use some of those megaphone pieces, which is cool, with some little transparent pieces for lights. And one good thing about it is that if you don't want to have it on here, you can just easily take it off, which is a plus. But I don't know why there are those random Technic holes right there, because I looked on the actual box art, that was included on the set for some reason, and there isn't anything that you're meant to actually put there. So they just look a bit out of place. And there are, what I assume are 2 other lights, which is pretty cool. And of course, there is this whole area for Count Dooku's speeder. And it is pretty cool. They do use this massive tile, which I'm pretty sure LEGO uses that exact same piece for display plaques for UCS sets. And you're obviously meant to put Count Dooku Speeder, just like that, which I think is actually pretty cool. But because it doesn't have any studs, it's not connected to anything, so you can knock it over pretty easily. But the actual entrance to the cave does look very nice. I think they did a very good job on this. I also do like how they included this little piece at the top. I think that looks good. But there are those little flick-fire missile Technic pins. And I'm not 100% sure what those are meant for, because if you're meant to flick them out, it would be pretty difficult like that, because they're actually attached to the little lights. Overall, I like this set. I think it looks pretty good, at least for a set that is based off of a scene. But would I recommend that you pick up this set? Probably not, because the main reason you're getting this set is for the figures. Plus, for $200, I feel like your money would better just be spent to just buy those two figures. But I like the set. I would give it about a 7 out of 10.